My name's Ryan Cam. Welcome back to the Horror Movie Iceberg podcast, where myself and Russell Howell watch disturbing horror movies till we tap out. And Russell, it took us long enough, but we're finally at the end of the VHS movies.
We did it, man. We did it. Yeah. I mean, it was an undertaking. We did it. Glad we're going to be covering other things. So, anytime you take on a big undertaking like that, it's kind of nice just to come out on the other side of it and anticipate wrapping this up and kind of gearing up for what's ahead.
Yes, but we'll talk more about what's to come at the end. But for now, let's get to the very last, or we'll last for now, VHS movie, VHS Halloween. And before we get into that, if you leave a like, comment, subscribe, we would greatly appreciate that on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you very much in advance. VHS Halloween was released in 2025. It was a Shudder exclusive yet again, and keeping with the tradition of what was started with VHS Beyond, this is keeping to a theme. The theme this time being Halloween. Basically, 10/31/98 from the first VHS movie, but the entire movie. And as usual, we will cover the wraparound segment in one go, and then we'll go down segment by segment. To kick things off, we have the wraparound, which is called Diet Phantasma. And there's several parts of this movie because I really like this movie. Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
That I really like, but I was legit curious, Russell, what you were going to think about them, and one of them was going to be the wraparound. So, what did you think?
I dug it. I liked it. I like when the guy comes in and introduces himself like he's this big, like, the COO or whatever, and he tries to shake these people's hands, and they don't really give a shit. It's really funny. And he looks like he would be like he reminded me of just like he would be like a villain in an 80s movie. He had that look to him. I think maybe it was a slick back hair or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, no, I liked it. I dug the Diet Phantasm.
I love the aesthetics of this movie just in general, but I especially love like what the Diet Phantasma can looks like. It's got a big old ghost. It's a red can, but like the green like font. I love that stuff. I love how this is filmed in very like foggy, grainy, like 4:3. Of the wraparound segments, I'll go out on a limb and say this is probably the most unique.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And just in general, there was just so much to love here, just from the footage to the commercials. I love the commercials in this. I just like there's so many little things in this that I just really appreciated.
And I thought the mid-credit scene at the end with the infomercial or whatever the commercial was pretty funny too. Like I said, it was one of the ones that kind of held your attention more because it was consistent. It was all about the same thing, and it wasn't as confusing as some of those other wraparound episodes. Like you know where you're at. You're in there. They're trialing diet pop, and they're having all these like guinea pigs pretty much try their product. I liked it. I really did.
Yeah. Well, our first segment is called Coochie Coochie Coo. This was directed by Anna Zlokovic. I hope I pronounced that right. It tells the tale of two high school girls named Lacey and Kaylee who are trick-or-treating one last time. They encounter a group of boys who say the mommy is going to get them because they're too old, and they steal some candy. Well, they being the girls. And, well, that's the beginning of the end for them. So, like I said, the wraparound was the one thing that I was like, what's Russell's reaction going to be to this? But especially this one, because this segment is just, I'll go out on a limb again and say this is the most weird of all of these segments. So what did you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I had it high up, obviously, till the other episodes, but I liked it. I thought it was cool. I liked how obviously we started. You're curious, and then once you get in the house, I mean, it's just like all bets are off. It was really crazy. It's definitely out of left field, but I dug it. I mean, I liked it. As you get used to watching these VHS films, I think you kind of get the taste of where, you know what I mean. It's not as surprising, as opposed to when I first started watching these movies. You know what I mean. You kind of understand where you can go far. You can go to far left real quickly. You know.
Yes.
But I liked it fine. Like I said, I dug it. Yeah, I liked it.
Like I said, this is not necessarily the scariest, but it's the one
Yeah.
where I'm like, wow, someone took a concept and ran with it.
There was definitely times where just I think just holding the camera, where you're kind of on edge just because you're in this dark house and the only light you really see is obviously provided by the camera. So you're kind of on you're kind of seeing things firsthand just how they are too, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's a couple like I said, a couple scenes where you kind of get like you're kind of on edge, for sure.
Then we cut to our next segment, Utsupra Sik Infra. This was directed by Paco Plaza, director of the first Wreck movie. And it tells the story of a kid who goes to a Halloween party in a abandoned mansion in Spain. I can only imagine nothing but good things about this. And well, nothing good comes of it. They find a room with a bunch of walls that say, among other things, Ut Supra Sic Infra, which is a reference to one of the movies we've covered on this podcast, As Above, So Below. And everything just goes completely south from here. So, Russell, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you said this was your favorite segment?
Yeah, and like kind of like what I told you, it was like I feel like all these are just kind of even kilter, quality wise, so it's kind of hard to like distinguish what. But I thought this one was more. I thought this one definitely had the creep factor in it. You know what I mean? Um, definitely really cool concept. I like it.
I don't have a ton to say other than it's my least favorite segment. I think it feels the least on brand with the theme. There's the Halloween party, yes, but then it just
Yeah.
kind of diverts from that. It's a personal thing for me. Like
Well,
it feels the least Halloween of these Halloween stories, if you will.
yeah, I mean, I can understand they just tied in with the Halloween party, but I like the whole fact of like, okay, so he's trying to like they're basically trying to have him kind of recreate what happened. You know what I mean? And it was the one girl's idea to let's go to where this medium was or whatever, and then with the phone, I just thought that was kind of cool. And then I like how it ends, with everybody falling down from the ceiling. I thought it was just kind of neat. Like I said, it was something different, and I appreciated it.
Next up is the segment Fun Size. This was directed
So random. It was so random, man.
and yeah, like Fun Size is said quite a few times in the segment. This was directed by Casper Kelly. This is direct.
You gotta put you gotta put that in. Just see here.
We can't
Don't,
we
yeah.
can't do it justice. It just have to show you what this guy looks like. It's like what happens.
Man.
It's like he looks like the Jack in the Box mascot if he got possessed.
It looks so funny because it looked like his face was like a tomato or something. Like it's like you know what I mean. And if you knock his hand off, all this candy comes flying out. M&M peanuts or whatever come flying out of his arm. It's just so random.
We'll touch on that in a second, but this was directed by Casper Kelly, primarily known for his work on, quite frankly, many shows on Adult Swim. So he's still around and he's still active. But this one again tells the story of a bunch of trick-or-treaters who they basically break a rule, say only take one piece, like one per person. And
Yep.
well, one of them takes a bar that looks like, and they get sucked into the candy bowl and
Oh
into the
man.
world of Mr. Fun Size.
Uh,
And it just like this is the most horror comedy segment in VHS history. Like
yeah,
we've laughed at some of the ironic comedy of this series, but this is the most
uh,
unironic horror comedy of the series, in my opinion.
Well, for sure feels like an Adult Swim. I mean, when you said that, I mean, it kind of strikes. I mean, it kind of tracks. Um, and then the whole thing with him eating the Larry Fine and the juice coming out of it. I mean, it's just hilarious. Um, yeah. And then, like you said, they get sucked into the trick or treat basket and transported into the fun world. And yeah, that's why the old adage, man, you just got to take one. You can't take more than one. I always did whenever we trick or treated. I always took one. I didn't, I always like to save candy for everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, you can just buy your own at that point. Like, what are we
Yeah,
doing?
yeah. I mean, just go and buy a variety pack of stuff.
There you go. If you want, fun size is probably the most famous segment to come out of this movie. If I had to venture a guess, the movie's only about a year old, but
Yeah,
that's the one that I hear referenced the most, if that makes any sense. But it's in terms of like, this is my second favorite segment just based on the horror comedy of it all. But then we get to my personal favorite, Kid Print. This
okay.
was directed by Alex Ross Perry. He's primarily known as an actor in many independent films, and this one just got under my skin, Russell. Like
Yeah,
this one, like to put it rather bluntly, it's about a man who owns. Back in the day, you used to get your photos developed at one of these printing stores. Russell, you could probably explain it better than I could.
yeah,
But
yeah. Thanks for making me feel older than I am.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, you actually there was spots like you go to the mall and stuff like that. They had like camera places. They had prints, i.e., the Robin Williams movie, 1 Hour Photo, which is and it had shades of that, which I love that movie, and definitely a very underrated Robin Williams performance too. But anyway, yeah, you used to be able to drop your photos off your rolls of film. This is before obviously iPhones. You had to put film in cameras. And then once you were done with the film, you had to take it out of the camera and put it in like it had a small little canister container. And then you'd go and drop these off at a photographer, like, a photographer, and they would print your prints out and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it seemed like that just disappeared on us really quickly. And here we are with a camera right here on your phone, and you can just take it, and there you have it. You can even get it printed at at like a pharmacy. You can go and to put your iPhone in there. It's crazy. Like you have an app with Walgreens or whatever. You can print your stuff there now. It's really crazy. Anywho, yeah, that's basically the lowdown on the photos of back in the day, how we used to do things.
Yeah, and I think just this, I think in terms of overall segments, this might be the darkest
For
because
sure.
of just the implications of it all. I won't give too much away, but basically, what you need to know is that there is someone running this print shop who is a child predator.
Yeah.
But the like that's the delicate way that I can describe it. And again, what I can say is that the ending has a twist that's very similar to something like Usual Suspects. If you've seen that movie, it's like the who's Kaiser Sose, and then there he is. Well, it's kind of similar to that in that you don't really see it coming, and it just makes you angry. Like this twist made me angry because it's a work of fiction. I'm aware of that,
Yeah.
but you just with the knowledge of like there are people like this in our
Yeah.
lives every day. That's the
100%.
part that got me.
Oh yeah, and the fact that people that, I mean, obviously a little bit more. I mean, it's still happening nowadays anyway, so it doesn't really matter for context when it, when it was taken. But you think of somebody that has this type of job that has access to children on a regular basis like that. It is unnerving, and kind of what you said. Yeah, at the end, you're like, yeah, man, you're like, seriously. Um, yeah, you do get kind of mad about the ending, but again, I appreciate the fact that it took something a little bit different, different approach, a little bit more like it really plays on your emotions, obviously. Um, and I think it definitely is the darker of the darkest of the ones that we've seen out of all the VHS ones for sure.
I think in terms of in terms of content, this might be the darkest VHS segment. I'll need to like do a
Yeah.
brief rundown of the ones that we've covered, but just in terms of implications combined with just general feelings, this has got to be like the one. It made me the most angry. It's my favorite segment of the movie, but favorite being in the terms of like like in terms of real life horrors, like that's the one. Like if like in terms of like the movie and like how much I enjoyed it, I'd have to go fun size. But in terms of the movie doing its job as being a horror, like it's Kid Print hands down.
Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely, it's unnerving. But I mean, this is a horror film, so I mean, you have to kind of, you know, you get all the feels with it. You know what I mean? You feel, you hate, you're mad, like. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think this was, I think for sure one of the darkest.
Yes, but then we get to our final segment in our coverage, Home Haunt. This was directed by Micheline Pitt Norman and R.H. Norman, and it tells the story of a family that runs a big old haunted house, it's like a play haunted house, but the teenage son just doesn't want to do it anymore because like I'm too old for this, Dad. Well, they find an old LP record called Halloween Horrors. They play it, and well, the play haunted house becomes a real haunted house. And I don't think this segment was is going to be for everyone. I got a kick out of it just because of the aesthetics, but the story took turns that I'm just like, huh? That's a bit
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah, and that's why I think this is probably my least favorite out of all of them, just because of the fact of just like, yeah, you know what I mean. At that time, you've seen everything. By the time you've watched the first four, that you're like, what are you gonna throw at me now to close it out? You know what I mean? And I just thought we could have went out on a harder note, and I just felt like this was just kind of lame, you know?
Yeah. But I do appreciate the design of the house. I thought that looked really cool. And then
Yeah,
the monster at the end, I won't
yeah,
spoil it in case anyone wants to see it.
I thought
The
that was cool
actual
too.
monster at the end, I thought that was a great design. So
Yeah, for sure.
props to that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the story just didn't really do all that much for me.
No, it was kind of flat, and yeah, like you said, I really dug the whole monster at the end. I thought it was really kind of cool, but at the end of the day, I think it's just a forgettable episode, you know, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and it's kind of sad because like I said, they're all pretty much like, I'm not saying there's a bad, like a really awful one in the bunch. This one just, we could have had a little bit more meat on it, and it really just kind of left you like,
And with that, we are done, Russell. That was the last segment, and we are officially caught up with the VHS movies until they make the next one, if they don't, then it would genuinely surprise me because these movies are big hits on Shudder based on
yeah.
all the research that I've done. But for now, we're all caught up. I mean, it's funny when we do this series is like we're caught up on these franchises and yet they announce another one, like we caught up on Blair Witch
Oh
and then they
yeah,
just
yeah.
announced the next one in September of next year,
Yeah, September
this year, next year,
27, yeah, I think, yeah.
which I don't know what they're going to do with that one. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that one, but that's
Yeah.
going to be a story for when we get down that road. As far as VHS Halloween goes, I'm going to give this a great rating. This is a tale of two extremes. It's either it's just kind of there or some of the best work that VHS has ever done with no real consistency. With Beyond, it's like a consistent standard of quality. Even the subpar stuff, Robo Stork, anyone, like even that can't weigh down the overall quality of that movie. With this one, though, it's like it's just kind of there really to, wow, how did they not think of that one sooner with no real in between?
Yeah, no, I think this one, like I said, it's kinda hard to grade the 5, episodes for, just because they're all okay, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, I think there's a lot more, meat on this one, for sure. So I can understand why, first off, it's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. And I like it. I dug it. There's more that I liked than I didn't like. So to me, that's always a victory whenever you come out of it having more fun than you did not fun. So yeah.
All that I will say, one request to Shudder, who's definitely not watching, but in case you somehow do, Christmas. I need a VHS Christmas movie. There's plenty of meat on that bone.
Yeah, there definitely is. There's a lot of material.
I mean, especially because one segment in Halloween, the Kid Print one, takes place in '92 at like the
Yeah,
peak of like videoing themselves with
yeah.
those big camcorders, like Christmas morning, open up packages. Is like, oh, it's not what I was expecting. Maybe do something with a killer Santa. It's been done, but you could do something like that. I don't know. I'm very much spitballing here. Point
No,
is,
yeah, yeah.
VHS Christmas, it's just right there collecting dust.
You could do like a dark version of the Christmas Carol where it's like even haunted, like Scrooge is like a killer. I mean, you could easily do that too.
Oh,
Yeah.
you could do that, but then again, we're getting that Scrooge movie later this year with Johnny Depp and Ty West. So
Oh, really?
probably not this year, but you could definitely do something like that in the vein of.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's. I mean, it lends itself to have that dark whole. You have that dark vibe. That. Yeah, I think that would lend itself well to like a horror type of remake.
But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of VHS Halloween? Let us know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. Russell, thank you so much for doing this with me every week. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys can find us on Notorious by Chance on Facebook. We haven't been putting polls up because we've been really trying to hit the MCU pretty hard. So we just recorded Captain America Winter Soldier, so be on the lookout for that. Our episode on Thor Dark World is out. Check that out. And then on our YouTube channel, Notorious by Chance, I believe Chance and a couple of his friends, they ranked the NFL quarterbacks, the starting NFL quarterbacks for all the teams going into next year, like where they rank them at. So it's kind of interesting. So check that out if you're a football fan.
Yep, all those links down below. Subscribe to them over there. As far as this channel goes, next week we'll return to the Reiner Project. We had to do a bit of a switcheroo because I didn't have time this week to actually watch Ghosts of Mississippi. But next week we will cover Ghosts of Mississippi for the Reiner Project. And then in 2 weeks' time, when we return to the Iceberg, we will be, well, encountering some ghosts and taking a look at, honestly, in my opinion at least, one of the more underrated ghost movies that I've ever seen. It's a movie called Grave Encounters. But that's in 2 weeks' time. But for Russell, my name is Ryan Cam. We'll see you all in the next one. Y'all take care.